demo session of CCNA version 3. My name is Pamo Kumar Swami. I'm the instructor for this course. We are basically trying to give an introduction to CCNA version 3, which was recently launched by Cisco as a part of their CCNA certifications. Now, this particular course content which we are sharing with you, essentially for 5 to 7 days of a duration in a full-fledged time. That's around every day, 8 hours per day. So roughly, it will be around 40 to 50 hours duration training program. And this sessions are accompanied by a lot of labs. So there will be around 20 and 80% kind of a concept which we go for it. So 20% of the time we talk about theoretical concepts behind any technologies, and remaining 80% of the time we would like to go into the labs, which are more or less typically scenario based. This is how the modules will generally be covered in the session. So as a part of introduction, let me take you to this course outline and give you a brief overall view what this each title will give you the knowledge base. So in this course, the first module which we are going to talk about it is called Building a Simple Network. In this module, we will be learning about functions of the networking. What do you mean by networking? Then understanding the host-to-host communication model. Then we talk about what are the LANs, what are the essential devices which are required to build a LAN, such as switch, network interface cards, cables, power supply, and based upon these devices, we will build our LAN. Subsequently, we talk about Cisco iOS software, because in building the networks, one of the core device will be your router and switches. In Cisco, the devices carry one operating systems known as iOS. So in this module, we will be talking about how to log into the iOS, how to use some basic commands in order to interact with the systems. And next topic, how do you start the switch? Then subsequently, we have to understand the Ether network operations which are deployed in the form of a switch. So how the switch operates and what are the various features of the switch. This will be covered in this module. And thereafter, we can also focus some common troubleshooting techniques involved in finding out about media issues and how can we troubleshoot them, how can we take care of such kind of problems. And the last part of this article, we talk about establishing the internet connectivity. Thereafter, the next article will be, we will be discussing in details about how TCP/IP layer works, what are their significant role played in the data communication, and how these layers are fit into the OSI model. And the next module, we talk about IP addressing, that essentially covers about a class of IP classifications, and understanding the subnet process. The third module, where we would be understanding exclusively about the function of a TCP on transport layer. The fourth module, known as exploring the functions of the routing. In this module, we will give you the basic foundation that how a router can work. Practically, the functions of the router will be demonstrated with a couple of scenarios to clarify the concept of the routing. Then afterwards, we have a Cisco router configurations. We will explain you in this module that how you start the router and how you configure your Ethernet card, how a router starts forwarding the packets from one interface to the other interface, how can you make it work. So it requires some configuration. So in this module, we will be talking about the configuration of the router. The next module, we will be going in detail understanding about the packet delivery process that happens inside your router, such as how router, a device which is working on layer number 3 of the OSI model, will extract the network ID from the given IP address, and how it uses our protocol in order to find out the destination. If the host machine is located on a different network, how he forwards his packets with reference to the net ID of the remote network. The detailed action of delivering the packet is discussed in this particular module. In the next module, we talk about enabling static routing. This is the fundamental building block of the routing. In this module, we try to explain how a routing rules have to be formulated so that packet from one network can be transferred to the other network. How an administrator creates the routes to different destinations so that packet intending for that particular network will be successfully reach the destinations. So this is demonstrated through some case studies and some hands-on labs that how static routing can be explored in practical scenarios. Then next we talk about access control list. This is one of the important part of the networking, where we'll be giving a fundamental knowledge and functionalities of the ACL. Why ACL? How to build the ACL? And why we required these ACLs in our real-time scenarios. Then we have enabling the internet connectivity and then implementing some medium-sized networks which covers multi-branches type of a network. In the next module, we talk about implementing and troubleshooting VLANs and networks. This is a module. So in this case, we begin understanding the switch topologies, how the switch can be configured in different ways, something like a star topology or a bus topology. Then if you have a switch, how can I have a redundancy for that switch in case the switch is failed in a working scenarios. In the third module, we talk about how the redundancy can improve or make the communication available to the outside world in case of one of the link goes down by using a concept called EtherChannel. So we will talk about the concept of the EtherChannel in this module, and we will demonstrate to you how the EtherChannel can be built, and possibly we will also demonstrate to you how the failover will take place if one of the card or one of the link is goes down. Next one, we have virtual LANs. We will start the introduction and definition of the virtual LAN, and emphasis is more on why virtual LAN, what is the need of the virtual LAN, and then we talk about if I'm having a multiple VLANs, how I can tune them to meet the business requirements by virtue of routing the packets between two different VLANs. In the next module, we talk about iOS network devices such as DHCP server. Normally, there are a couple of the servers which are inbuilt in the iOS, which is in a way required for the operation of the network. So one of them is a DHCP server. So we have a DHCP server as a part of the iOS, and which supplies the IP address to the client machines. Then we have a layer 3 redundancy, something like HSRP protocol implementations, how they can be a redundancy for the routing functions. And in the same module, we have new chapter called IP version 6 is introduced. We will talk about the basic introduction part of the IP version 6 and understand IPv6 operations, what are the address schemes, what type of addresses that we have, how can we implement a static route in IP version 6. In this module, we will be giving you a lot of exercises in order to give a practice on how to build the IPv6 address schemes. Then subsequently, we talk about basic connectivity that involves between IPv4 network connectivity and IPv6 network connectivity. This is about the IPv6 module. The next one, we have something called securing the network devices. In the current scenario, we have a lot of issues in the network in terms of hacking the sites. So in this module, the participants will learn that how can I make my device more secure in terms of authentication and authorizations. Then in this module, we also learn about implementing the device hardening. In the device hardening, we learn about how can you restrict the login access to the people. How can you restrict them using only a couple of commands which they are intended for, and some other features of it. Then we go into EtherChannel protocol. Now, EtherChannel protocol, in this module we talk about the fundamental algorithm or working of the EtherChannel. Then how do you implement EtherChannel? What are the various commands involved in the EtherChannel? And what are the metrics that we talk about EtherChannel? The first module will be implemented practically by using IPv4 version. And in this, we will learn the functioning of EtherChannel in detail, such as finding the neighbors, then associating with them, then how they exchange the routing informations, how they can update the routing information among the group of the routers. That same thing, I will go to EtherChannel, but this time it is for IP version 6. Then, corresponding to this module, we will also learn how to troubleshoot EtherChannel in some cases if it's not functioning the way we want it. You will be taught how to troubleshoot this EtherChannel, and you'll be taught about how this is working and what are the thumb rules that need to be followed, and what are the commands to be followed in order to catch the problems. Then the next module is we have OSPF based solutions. So in this module, we'll understand the OSPF functioning, and we will also introduce in this particular module that how can you implement OSPF for the multi-area, and what are the basic requirements for implementing in multi-area, and what are the different mechanisms are existing to make the neighbors, because in OSPF, handshaking with a neighbor is something which is very important, which is fully demonstrated in this module by implementing different scenarios of the OSPF. In this module, we also implement OSPF version 3 for IPv6 and understand how we can see the version 6 works in action and what modifications will be done. The next module, this is about implementing the WAN, that is the wide area networks. We will introduce to you about the WAN technologies and why WAN is today so much important and how it has changed from last 2 decades. So what is the current trends of the WAN technology, and understanding the basic point-to-point protocols. And as a part of the lab, we have a GRE tunnel configurations, and we also configure a single home eBGP, that is the external BGP protocol configurations. This was a topic about the WAN network. In sums up the network device management, implementing basic device management and evaluation of intelligent networks, and subsequently we will also understand the basic concepts relevant to the QoS, and a couple of labs will be demonstrated to you in order to make you understand how the QoS works. And of course, when we have managing the Cisco devices by using various techniques. So that is a core part of the network device management. These are some labs where we are publishing the list of the labs to the audiences. We have approximately around 50-55 labs are there. So I thought it's better I could share with you the list of the labs that you would like to have when you come for the course. The first lab we talk about how the Cisco CLI command line will work. The second lab we talk about perform the basic switch configurations. Third, understand how the switch operates. Fourth, troubleshoot switch media and port issues. Fifth, inspect the TCP/IP applications by virtue of your Wireshark, and where you can get a clarity on how the TCP/IP are communicating with each other in the client server environment. Then we have a sixth lab which talks about Cisco router configurations. Then seventh, we are talking about Cisco Discovery Protocol, which is a very useful protocol in terms of getting the information about the Cisco devices in a big network. Essentially, these are used in building the asset inventories in the network world. Then eighth, we talk about the meaning of the default gateway. And ninth, we talk about exploring the packet forwarding. And 10th, we show you how to configure the static routes. And 11th, we will configure and verify the access control list. 12th, we configure the provider assigned IP address. And 13th, we would try to 13th and 14th and 15th as well as we deal with the netting. This is called network address translations. So we can know how to configure the NAT. There's a two modes. One is called static and dynamic mode. And how can you do the troubleshooting? Then there are some challenging exercises which have been provided to you, where you can talk about the scenarios and then do your labs. The 16th lab, we talk about how to configure the VLANs and trunks and then troubleshoot the same. 18th and 19th labs are relevant to the STP protocols, where we configure the STP protocols and analyze them and then troubleshoot the same if any issues comes around it. Then 20th, we have how to configure the EtherChannel. And 21st, we are talking about a configure router on a stick, which is basically used in the inter-VLAN communications. Then 22nd lab, we have DHCP server, which has been configured in the Cisco router. So in short, the Cisco router acts as a DHCP server. And 23rd, we have a certain troubleshooting of DHCP issues. 24th, we are talking about HSRP protocol. This is called host routing protocol. This HSRP protocol is used to create the redundancy for a router. That is, we call in a short layer 3 redundancy. So we will configure the HSRP and then we do the troubleshooting of the same. On 26th and 27th lab, we have a RIF version 2 and troubleshooting the same protocol when you are going into the implementations. 28 and 29, this is basic configuration of IPv6, and subsequently we also show you the demo that how can you build the static routes. Then 30th, we have a specific tool called troubleshooting tools. We would like to expose certain tools which is used basically for troubleshooting the networks. Configure and verify IP version 4 for access list here. Here we talk about the extended access list. Then troubleshoot the same. Then 33, it is access list for the IP version 6 and the troubleshoot the same. Then 35th, we talk about enhance security of initial configurations. Then limit the remote access connectivity based upon the remote login programs. Then 37, so configure and verify port security. And 38 talks about how can you implement the NTP server in the router so that there can be a synchronization of the clock stack space among the routers. The 39th, we talk about external authentication such as the radius servers and TCAC server. What is the use of radius server and TCAC place and how they can be used to authenticate people in the network world. 41 is talking about the EHRP implementations, and then 42nd we talk about troubleshoot per se. Then we have single area OSPF. It is again a lab based on OSPF, elementary, very fundamental block of the OSPF implementations. Then 44th and 45th and 46th, they talk more about configuring and verifying OSPF in IP version 6, then IP version 4, and then troubleshooting the same. Then 48, 49, and 50th module, which more or less talking about the WAN communication modules, and 51, 52, they talk about single home ABGP, and 52, 53, they talk about the lab, something about configuring the Cisco and SNMP for getting the more information about troubleshooting the networks and protocols. So with this introduction, we hope that we have clarified and we have given very elementary introduction of the modules which have been designed by the Cisco. And when you go for the full-fledged course, we hope to see you and then deliver these courses on hands-on session. So in our labs, most of the time we will use simulation tools or emulation tools which are available. But most of the time we'll try to use a packet tracer for first priority for the Cisco. If not, then we use other available graphic tools, something like a GNS, which are very popular. So probably we'll be using the GNS for showing you a couple of the labs of these particular sessions. Thank you very much. We hope to see you again back in a course. So let's catch the actions in a course when we deliver this one. Thank you very much.
Hello.